Welcome to Eric Unscripted. So whenever I go online, especially on social media, I'm just flooded with all this stuff about this Tiger King. And I had no idea what it was at first. I assumed it was some new fictional show or whatever, but it's a documentary. And as I started hearing people talk about it, I started to realize, wait, I've already heard of this before. I know what this is. I get National Geographics, and back in December, they had this article, which is on captive tigers in the U.S. outnumbering those in the wild. And specifically, when somebody brought up that this Tiger King person lives in Oklahoma, I said, wait a minute. Oklahoma was like central in this article. And when you type in the guy, Joe Exotic, there he is. That's the guy from the Tiger King docuseries. So I read about this months before the documentary series actually came out, because it only came out 11 days ago. So today what I want to do is just talk a little bit about the article and the whole concept behind what's going on here. But also, I'll admit, I haven't watched this series at all. So what I want to do is watch the trailer and just kind of get a sneak preview. I don't even have Netflix. I don't plan on ever watching this. But it'll be fun to just kind of check out what is going to be in store. Okay, I already have to pause here. That thing is huge, right? That's a liger. That's a lion and a tiger mixed together. And I've heard that when you breed them together, there's some sort of gene that controls growth, and it's turned off. I think the female has to be a lion and the male has to be a tiger for that to work. That thing's just gigantic.
It's not every day that a zookeeper went to prison for murder for hire.
There are more captive tigers in the U.S. than there are in the wild throughout the world.
You know, people are nuts, man.
Was that guy... Hold on.
They're nuts.
He's got a little monkey and he's feeding it pizza. Well, I don't know who this guy's supposed to be. Oh, whatever.
Man, they're all
No. What? You can't... Where in America can you just do this? I don't understand. There are so many places that are just utterly lawless. I mean, not literally lawless, but when stuff like this is going on, you gotta wonder, do these people have any standards of decency? I mean, come on.
I'm sure y'all got a story to tell.
I want to know what happened to this guy. Really badly. Not enough to watch the docuseries, though.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Joe Exotic, and this is Sarge.
He was like a mythical character living out in the middle of Oklahoma who owned 1,200 tigers and lions and bears and shit.
1,200?
Oklahoma who owned...
God, yeah, I read that he has, like, basically a zoo. That's just horrible. How could he afford to feed these
tigers
things?
and lions and bears and shit.
Matt spoken, good looking.
Oh, those are tattoos. I was super confused.
I don't think we're done blowing shit up today.
I don't figure you are.
What does that have to do with raising big cats? Blowing stuff up in fires.
They have a heart and a soul and a mind. I've learned from them.
But tell me.
They have a heart and a soul and a mind. I've learned from them.
Well, one thing that this confirms is that cats will be cats.
Soul and a mind. I've learned from them.
Playing with balloons.
He'd say I can't have these tigers.
If he ever had an enemy in his life, it was Carol Baskin.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, it's Carol at Big Cat Rescue.
Carol is the Mother Teresa of cats.
We will end the private possession of these cats.
This is my way of living, and nobody's gonna tell me any otherwise.
Wow, what a total scumbag. So Carol Baskin is correct. We should absolutely not be breeding these animals the way they are. I totally believe in zoos because many zoos get their animals from breeding within and their rescue animals. And zoos are educational. Zoos actually make the odds of saving animals greater because it educates the public about these animals, and then it grows a mass consciousness. But this touristy kind of cat stuff where you have 1,200 cats in one place, that's predatory. You're just taking advantage of these animals for profit.
This is my way of living, and nobody's gonna tell me any otherwise.
And that attitude really, it really sums up, I don't want to say these kind of people, but this kind of thinking. You know, these sort of places where people just do whatever they want, they have no regard or respect for the law, and they have no regard or respect for animals and nature as well. The only thing they care about is exploiting it for personal gain. Now, is farming exploiting nature for personal gain? Yeah, but it's not at all the same. You really can't draw similarities there, I don't think. These are the kind of people that say, I got my guns, I got my Bible, and I don't need that Barack Hussein Obama telling me what to do. Idiots.
Carol has an army of people working for free.
She's a plain out hypocrite. She literally does everything that I do.
The joke is, will you go to Florida and what?
You'll let
What a story! And it got way bigger.
Sometimes they say that I'm the prototype for Scarface.
We're supposed to be sexy as we're luring people in.
You may now kiss the grooms.
I wasn't expecting that. What? Drug lords and polygamy and wow. No wonder people are talking about this.
kill me to shut me up. This is my first album, I Saw Tiger. There's 28 songs and 16 music videos. I saw Tiger, now I understand.
That's either not him, it's clearly auto-tuned quite a bit. I mean, it could be him, but it's to the point where it's like, no, that's not really his voice. Like if somebody drew a cartoon of me and I tried to say, no, yeah, that's really actually what I look like. No, right? Oh yeah, this guy's just a real piece of shit, isn't he? So he apparently owned maybe the biggest population of cats in the United States. Definitely way more than any other zoo. But apparently there are tons of these things, especially in Oklahoma, because there aren't any laws, I believe, in Oklahoma that say that regulate big cats at all. So there's no federal law that regulates big cat ownerships. Each state is different. And Joe has brought up a huge number of times in this article. The article's about big cats in the United States in general, but he's sort of the worst offender. And even though there aren't federal laws against this and each state has different versions of the laws, there are still certain standards that you have to meet, and he didn't even come close to meeting those standards. He was inbreeding all kinds of cubs. He was not feeding them properly. He even killed some of them. It says here, some months later, Gerritsen said Joe Exotic mentioned that he'd shot some of his own tigers. These former zoo employees document a case where Joe Exotic walked up to them with a shotgun, put it against their heads, and pulled the trigger. He did that with 5 of his own tigers, apparently. What's really disgusting is they keep breeding these baby cubs so that they can have actual people hold the cubs and pay big money for photos. The big ones are too dangerous for that. Well, a lot of these cubs, when they grow up, which is only after the cubs are like 2 or 3 years old, they just kill them. And you can't kill endangered species, even ones that are bred in captivity. That's a law. But in the typical, nobody can tell me what to do attitude, He said he had the right to euthanize his own property. As bad as that is, he tried to get this activist, Carol Baskin, killed. He made his own YouTube video where he basically made a really generic threat, but then he shot the head off an effigy of her with a revolver. There were testimonies that Joe Exotic offered $10,000 to anybody that would agree to kill Carol Baskin. And apparently there's actually documents of this. He asked some Alan Glover guy to kill her, and then he sold him a cub to pay for the $3,000 deposit on the hit. So he gets charged for murder for hire. The guy who he hired to kill her gave a testimony and specifically says how he would kill Carol Baskin. But somehow that guy was never charged with anything. That's a bit odd. So my attitude about this whole thing, putting apart the conspiracy for murder and all of that, my attitude about this is exploiting something that is sentient and capable of suffering and causing that thing to suffer is completely wrong. Do I think that nobody should be allowed to have pets? Well, no. But then you can argue, so having dogs is fine, but having tigers is not fine. Well, yeah. That doesn't make me a hypocrite. For one, domesticated dogs don't exist in nature. There's no such thing as a domesticated tiger. And they're an endangered species. And two, it's not even that I'm opposed to the idea of one person owning one tiger. It's that when you allow that to happen, then you can allow somebody to have 2 tigers. And then you can allow somebody to have 3 tigers. And then you can allow somebody to have 1,500 tigers. And they don't feed them properly, and they don't get exercise, and they are riddled with diseases, and they're inbred horribly, and their bones wither away. And it serves absolutely no purpose but to exploit the animal for profit for the person. It's not good for the animals in any way. If you own a dog, the odds are that that dog lives like a king. None of these tigers have lives that good. They need wide open spaces. They need to hunt. But they're kept in cramped places, usually with several of their kind, and tigers really aren't that social. And they're often walking around on concrete slabs. I don't have a problem with farming, but when I drive by a dairy, for example, and I see that the cows have no access to grass, all they do is walk around in their own feces and piss, to me, that's really unethical. So what do? Well, the only choice is to have a standard, and the only way we make standards is with laws and regulations. It doesn't work to trust that people will do the right thing. Do most people do the right thing? Yeah. But huge numbers of people do the wrong thing. And otherwise decent people, when they realize or see that those kinds of things don't have consequences, then they will jump in and start doing the wrong things too. And there's no hope of the collective consciousness of this country growing and understanding and learning and realizing that just because you can say about something that that's the way things are, doesn't mean that those things are right. So that's my opinion on this whole thing. I still don't think I'll probably watch the documentary, although it does look really entertaining. If you agree or disagree when it comes to endangered species, tigers in particular, what you can and can't do with your own property, can an endangered species be property, etc., 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 feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching.